Hi everyone, it's Kute here, sending you big love wherever you are right now. Today I want to make a video about what do you do when everything that you're doing and you're working on and you're doing and it just isn't working, and you're trying hard and you're doing what you think you should be doing and you're trying everything and all the doors seem to be closing. Have you ever been in a situation where like all the doors have been closing? And you feel like you're putting in a tremendous amount of effort, you're trying your best, you're praying, and you really want a certain outcome. You really want, whether it's the relationship, whether it's the job, whether it's like an immigration status, whether it's moving to a country, whether it's the house, whatever that thing is, you really want it, and you're trying, and maybe it's starting a business or working on the business, and it's just not happening. Doors are closing, people are saying no, things aren't moving, it's not flowing, just shit's falling apart. What do you do? Do you give up? Do you keep going? When do you know when the right time is to give up? When do you know to keep moving forward? How do you know? You know, is it a test? Sometimes I believe ultimately anything worth working on will be challenging, and anything worth working on, anything substantial, whether it's a project, a vision, an idea, a relationship, is going to take effort. It's going to require a tremendous amount of your effort, your intention, a bit of hard work in there as well. It may not always come easy and just, you know, poof from the clouds show up. So you're going to have to make a commitment and be truly committed to what you say you're committed to. So I believe many times, you know, the universe will test you to really see if you really want it, to really test you to see if you're truly aligned, and you will get clear in that process. And if you're not clear, if it's not a true commitment, often after the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, whatever, however many it is, rejections, you'll probably give up. And then you realize that, well, that project, that vision, that relationship wasn't really authentic, wasn't really alignment. So if what you're doing is not working and you just choose to give up like that, then, you know, just give thanks, because you realize you've just realigned yourself to maybe realizing what's real for you, what's authentic for you, what you really want. Because then you say, well, I didn't really want that enough. It wasn't really meaningful for me. So that's one thing. The second thing is, if something is authentic to you, if it's meaningful to you, if you know this is aligned and it's truly aligned, and it's not working and it's not working and it's not working and it's not working, and you know it gets denied, you get declined, you get rejected, it doesn't happen, no one responds, the universe doesn't respond, you feel like you're just out there hanging in the middle of nowhere in the ocean, and you're wondering, God, what's going on? What do I do here? Have you ever been in that situation where you just want it, it just doesn't happen? If it's authentic to you, if the dream is authentic, just because it's not happening doesn't mean it's a no. It doesn't mean never. It just might mean, second thing, it just might mean the timing's not right yet. And maybe the universe needs to catch up, life needs to catch up, some of the situations and experiences and the people need to catch up. Or it also might mean that you as a human being, as a person, aren't quite ready yet based on the level of who you are and your own evolution at this time. So what excites me is I believe that dreams by themselves, dreams, visions, ideas, projects, that we are given a dream, or when we're given a dream, they are evolutionary in nature, in that they will cause you to evolve. I look back in my life, like I just launched a book called You Are the One. Many of you have read it. If you haven't, pick up the copy of You Are the One. Just became a national bestseller the other week. It's really exciting. But I was given the vision for a book, you know, over a decade ago. I mean, I always wanted to write a book since I was a child, but I was given a specific vision for a book 12 years ago, and I started to write, I was offered a few things. Cut a long story short, I was given the vision in a moment, but over the course of a decade or so, I had to go through a process of evolving, a process of maturation, a process of expanding, of healing, of transforming, of really aligning myself. And looking back now, you know, I realized that I had to, you know, and I faced many rejections along the way, and I realized that I as Kute, as a person, had to go through an evolution to become the person that could truly embody the message of the book, that could truly embody and speak the message of the book. And I realized now that I had to become the person who could truly fulfill the vision that I was given. Because sometimes we're given a vision, but we're not quite ready. So if everything you're doing and you're working on isn't quite happening, it just might mean you're not ready yet. Don't get disappointed. Don't get discouraged. Don't take that as a no. Just take that as a time to go back to the drawing board, or time to continue to commit to evolving yourself so that you can live into the bigness of the vision or the project. And who you will need to become in the process is what will get you ready and allow the manifestation to align, manifestation in the physical world to align with who you've become. And that's when things occur. Make sense? So that's the second thing. The third thing is, sometimes when you try everything and life still isn't moving, life isn't budging, the ego often has a tendency to resist and force. Have you ever forced? Like you force the relationship to happen. You force that thing to happen. And sometimes you'll force it and it won't happen. And it's only then you realize this wasn't necessarily the highest thing for my growth. This wasn't necessarily the most aligned thing for who I am. And you forced it and it kind of happened. So I believe, yes, that there's a degree, but when there's effort and hustle is different from struggle and force. Struggle and force is laced in resistance and ego. Effort and hustle and perseverance is connected to your soul's knowing and the commitment to the vision. Totally different. You can be in effort and hustle and be flowing, but when you are in resistance, when you are in struggle, you're coming from resistance, you're coming from the ego, you're coming from holding on to a concept or an idea that you think should be. You're not in surrender. You can be in surrender and still be hustling. You can be in surrender. So realize that this distinction. So what I found is you can force things to happen, but if it's not really aligned, it won't really resonate. It likely, whatever you've created won't last. So realize when things aren't working and you're trying everything and you're trying this and you're trying that and it still doesn't work, there comes a point where you may have to realize that perhaps what you think you want is not truly what you need. Is not truly what your soul is really wanting. It's what you think you want based on who you think you are. So that's the opportunity, rather than forcing to take a step back and say, okay, universe, I've tried everything I know how to do. I've done everything I know how to do. I've made these phone calls. See, many times people go, well, Kute, I've tried everything. And I say, how many phone calls did you make? One. And I say, one phone call? You just made one? That's it? You don't have the right to really let go and surrender yet. I believe that it becomes a lot easier to surrender in the moment when nothing is working out, where you truly in your heart can say, I've tried everything. I made the phone calls, I put the projects out, I sent the emails, I did everything in my human power, and it's still not happening. That's a sign that perhaps something bigger than you can imagine right now with your mind, something more than you can figure out with your finite mind, is actually seeking to emerge and happen in your life. That's the moment where you get to trust that something better than you can see right now with your limited eyes and perception is seeking to unfold. Trust the universe. That's the moment to not give up, but surrender. Then you allow yourself to become totally open to the universe, and you get to listen. So what do you do in that moment? You surrender, you let go, you stop, you listen, you tune in, you feel if there's any guidance, you feel if there's any intuition, and in the stopping and the listening, you can look around your life for the clues, because usually life will be nudging you when things don't work out. If you're perceptive, if you're not so attached to what you think should be, and you expand your perception, instead of having this tunnel vision, you expand your perception, and you start realizing, wow, there's a clue over there. And that's the moment in the surrender to to turn your direction and start pursuing that clue. And that clue may not be the whole answer, but it will lead you to the next step, which will lead you to the next step and lead you to the next step. So just know that when things aren't working out in your life, it's usually something way more than you can imagine is happening. What if you were getting kicked out of your job because you needed to move somewhere else so that you could meet your soulmate? What if you were, what if that project wasn't happening so that you could, move across the world so that you can meet the very business partner that you would start the next multi-million, billion-dollar company with? What if? Be open to possibility, and in that moment ask yourself, what's great about this? What's the possibility here? What's the opportunity here? Rather than being, oh my God, it's not working. And trust that something better is at work on your behalf. Even in the situation where it seems to not be working out right now, there is usually a bigger tapestry, a bigger work of art being weaved by life itself on your behalf. Trust, amazing friends. Trust, 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 and watch miracles happen. If you enjoyed this video blog, I invite you to share it with all your friends. I also invite you to subscribe to my blog, post it on your Facebook pages. Let's stay connected. If you haven't read my new book, You Are the One, go to Amazon, check it out. You'll see why everyone's been raving about it. Really appreciate your support. Big hugs. See you in the next video. Love now.